The running back position is the most important spot to lock down early in your drafts, but what about those handcuffs you are taking late in your drafts? It's me, Jagger May, and that's Ian Hartitz, and we're here to rank the top 12 best handcuffs in fantasy football. Ian, we've talked a lot of running backs together. I don't like to debate handcuffs. With that being said, that's bad exercise. It's like I don't like doing dishes type thing. Like you have to wash the dishes because that's how you get ants. And if you don't, and if you do, you have a clean home, everything's tidy. Having handcuffs is kind of that same thing. Whether you're planning for, I have my handcuff to go with my running back that I drafted early, so if anything happens to him, I'm okay. Or you're looking at someone who has a path to upside immediately. And then there's also the other option where I am going to hang on to this guy because let's say like he's a rookie or whatever, towards the tail end of the season, we're going to see more and more workload. Right off the bat, the biggest debate is Kyle Monangai in the beginning. So Kyle Monangai, where do you think he is? Is he a handcuff? Is he someone that has value early? And how do you define the handcuff position?
He is what I would call a flex with benefits, okay? Where, we can probably slot him into that flex spot and feel okay enough. I don't think your opponent's going to look at Kyle Monangai and, just have fear strike their entire body or anything like that. But during any given week, we're probably going to be ranking them inside the top 30, 36 running backs. I will consider that to be about a flex. But as we saw, one game last year. Now, the one game was against the Bengals, so we got to keep that in mind. Bengals and Cowboys in 2025. Chill out with your big-time performances there. But we did get the one game, and independent of him going for like almost 200 total yards, I think he had 70, 75% of the offensive snaps, and that really is what we're looking for, man, because as much as we would love to pretty much cross out, I would say when we have to cross out every RB1's name, we can just go ahead and put the RB2 there and assume the workload is going to be the same or even better. That's not the case for a lot. So with Chicago, Roschon Johnson, remember that freaking dude, man? He's still their number 3 RB at this point. Still very much seems to be a DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai show. I think we both put a good amount of respect on DeAndre Swift's name. So, I don't think a takeover without an injury is necessarily on the table, but it's probably not a 0% chance, man. Maybe more like 80-20 in favor of that not happening. So, Kyle Monangai, man, we love the offense. He's got some awesome handcuff upside, and he should be usable more weeks than not. That's a pretty great pick for where he's going in drafts, man.
And it could be the game script thing because in season, I'm pretty good as things go along, for projections from week to week. And Kyle Monangai could be used the same way that David Montgomery is, not even in the same role. But if they start to pull ahead, all right, we're going to give it to our bruiser every time, and then we're going to save DeAndre Swift. And that's something that you can think about in season when you're setting your lineups as well. It's like, is this going to be a really favorable game script for a grinder running back, or are they going to be playing from behind and someone like DeAndre Swift is going to be the guy that they're going to lean on third down more often than not? That's always something I want to think about. This was my number one. Yours was actually Blake Corum as the number one handcuff. So I'm going to let you cook with that one. Why is he number one? Because he's actually my number 3. It was the biggest discrepancy here. So I get the chess move, but you're like really, really bullish.
Man, I just think that we have seen over the years Sean McVay, only until recently, be more willing than just about anyone else to lean on one single running back. At first, it was Todd Gurley, then it was C.J. Anderson, Cam Akers, even though we didn't see, again, maybe the best overall long-term relationship. We're talking about guys with like 90% plus snaps, something that was on Kyren's plate, again, until last season. I think now it trends even closer to 50-50. It was more like 60-40 down the stretch, but if there's any number 2 running back in the league, man, we didn't even include Trayvon Henderson. We were talking before the show how difficult it is. The handcuff is actually priced ahead of the starter in New England. So that's just a wonky situation. But among the groups we're looking at, Corum, I believe, is going to be ranked the highest during any given week. We're looking at potentially 10 to 15 touches inside the reigning number 1 ranked scoring offense that now has a freaking juggernaut defense with Myles Garrett and potentially Aaron Donald returning. Still can't believe that could be happening in 2026. So the Rams O-line could be the one issue. We got Alaric Jackson dealing with his off-the-field stuff, but man, they were so good last season. All these, success rate stats had Kyren and Corum inside the top 5. They're very similar players. Is Jarquez Hunter still alive? Is he still a thing this season? I don't know. It just
There's a
seems
name I
like,
haven't
man,
heard in a long time.
right, right. We love the offense. It could be more just leading game scripts for Blake Corum, just getting to soak away these games in the fourth quarter with the Rams already up multiple touchdowns. And again, if anything happens to Kyren Williams, I think it's going to be the Blake Corum show in an offense we love. So tiebreakers, we haven't actually seen Kyren miss a game. So I am doing a little bit of a leap of faith and assuming that, Corum would have the sort of role that we have more certainty in Monangai having. But it's that Rams offense. It's their defense combined with that to potentially be a more run-heavy game script. Blake Corum's my number one handcuff.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Where I differ is, I was gonna play extreme devil's advocate, but now I'm just gonna do like, here's why he's number 3 for me.
Okay.
And now I see where you're at. You think he has more standalone value than I do, because and maybe with running backs, I feel like I'm always the guy that's just too late sometimes. Like the girl. If I'm chasing the girl at the airport, she's already on the plane by the time I get there, and that could be where I'm at with Blake Corum, where I'm just wrong, or same thing with Kyren Williams. We say this every year, and then he's just the third down guy, and we know that Sean McVay doesn't like to tip his hand by having multiple running backs for different situations. So I would need to see significantly more third down value for me to buy into that. That's where I'm at. At the same time, he's number 3 as a handcuff. I'm drafting a lot of Corum. Right. I'm just saying if we're playing either, that's where it is for me. So
it is funny when we get in some of these rankings. I've been barking a lot on Reddit recently, and someone was like, why are you so I think they said insultingly low on Drake London. And I'm like, man, he's wide receiver 9. It's only like Jason Pierre-Paul could count pretty much up there. Like, it's not the craziest thing in the world. So Blake Corum, again, RB3 versus RB1. Handcuff, yeah. It's not the craziest difference in the world.
It's not the craziest thing. Dude, I've joked about this, that a little peek behind the curtain, guys, rankings matter more to you guys than they do to us. That's why we like, and I'm finally glad that tiers are more popular now. Yeah. You guys are arguing with people who think in buckets, where it's like, you have Drake London number 9. I'm like, okay, what is he, tier 2 in wide receiver? Like maybe tier 3. It's like, that's still a very good player. That's not like, I'm not drafting him territory at all.
I do think sometimes we get annoying. Like if I was listening to fantasy people from more of a casual, just again, someone who has like a real life to get to, Jagger, and isn't just doing this every single day. So I do think sometimes we're annoying where it's like, oh, I like both guys. I'll have exposure to both. So I do try to do the caveat sometimes where it's like, it's your home league draft. You got to pick one or another. I realize you like them both, go ahead and make a stand. So I do agree. Tier-based drafting is the move, but at the same time, we do need to take some stands at some point. So screw your freaking everything you've just said, Jagger. Give me Blake Corum.
Okay, I actually respect that, because like you got to stand on business sometimes, man. That's yeah. I think I've told that. Like someone just like you need to change your mind. I'm like, no, man, I have no reason. This is the first week we can officially change our mind. We have reason. There's people dropping passes. There's beat writers saying things that aren't going to be true week 2. We're finally here, which brings me to number 3. The beat writers have said all the things about Jonathon Brooks. He's my number 2 because I think he might not be the handcuff. I don't know.
You could argue he's number 1 because he is the only guy, I think, where we could look up in week 6 and it's just like, oh, Jonathon Brooks is the starting running back in Carolina now. The big question is how much of what we're hearing from training camp about how great he looks, probably in freaking non-tackle periods in the first place, which is when every, fast running back is going to look good. How good does he actually look, man, coming off these injuries? I will say Dr. Jeff Mueller just got a recent job of fantasy points. Congrats to my friend over there. His point when discussing Brooks was that it was less 2 separate ACL tears, and it was more like the one he had at Texas didn't heal quite properly. And so the one he actually had with Carolina was more so an extension of that. It makes him feel better. And if it makes him feel better, it makes me feel better as well. So still I think he turns 23 soon, but like this dude is still so young. Chuba was playing through the calf last year. I am underestimating that probably, but I'll say this, Jagger. I've been in some drafts already where Brooks just straight up goes ahead of Chuba. I think it's probably irresponsible, but it looks fun, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I would rather, I'm not saying it's right, But looking at my roster, I feel like I would rather have Jonathon Brooks than Chuba Hubbard on it.
Yeah. And for the dynasty angle, the first three guys that we said here, those are probably going. I would not pay a 27-second for any of these guys. With that being said, if it was any other draft class, I would pay a second for any of the three guys that we've just discussed here. Jonathon Brooks is someone that you might not be able to get him anymore, but I would aggressively get, because like to quote my friend Rich Dotson over at Dynasty Nerds, an overpay today is an underpay tomorrow, and that's where I think we're going to be at with Jonathon Brooks quickly. As far as redraft, you only got to think about a short time, and with that being said, taking Jonathon Brooks over Chuba Hubbard, it's happening. If anything, we're waiting for all the math behind all of our apps to catch up, because I was in 2 drafts last night and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm up in 15 picks. Jonathon Brooks, baby. And like Jonathon Brooks was like 20 below on ADP, and then he went before I was even there. I'm like, shit, ain't no more free Randy. You know,
Again, I'm with you. We're like, it's nice to know the ADP, but at a certain point, man, know the guys you're drafting with as well. I like to be aware of it, but I just kind of put together an Excel page, basically. I'm going to try to do something, too, like for you guys over at RotoWire to basically make this so you can copy it yourself if you want to do it. But quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, put your tier breaks in there. When someone gets drafted, you gray them out, and then you can bold the guys that you're actually, targeting. So I think the ADP, again, is a piece of the puzzle, but it also is that thing, Jagger. We see it every single year. I'll get this guy later, and then all of a sudden you can't be getting him later. So right now, I love our RotoWire ADP tool because, again, it just shows you all different sites one after another. Brooks is going to pick 128 on Sleeper, 130 on ESPN. I love that. That sounds great to me because that's like late round quarterbacks. We're top 50 wide receivers are already off the board and everything. I do think he's someone that if you want, though, comfortably, as you found out last night, you probably got to draft him at least around.
You've got to draft him ahead. Yeah, the ADP, guys, is a construct. ADP is the matrix. It's not real. It's Fugazi. It's this thing. It's Fugazi, funny money. It's the stock market. The stock market is both real and not real. Does it affect the price of everything? Yes. But at the same time, it is a measurement of rich people's thinking. ADP is a measurement of how degenerates are thinking for that extended period of time. People running drafts right now, and it's still July for one more day. It's still July.
It's a measurement of nerds and virgins thinking.
Exactly. So if you like a guy, who cares? Because I get to the point in drafts where I have blinders on, where it's like you couldn't show me like the Efton Chisholm or something like that. If I threw out the most random name I could think of, like I don't even see people like that. Where like I literally scroll three times. I'm like, oh, Antonio Williams, that's who I want. Until Stephon Diggs drafts ends up somewhere, Antonio Williams is going to be on my roster. But you bring up the ADP tool. That's a good time to stop, and you guys got to do the YouTube stuff. Hit the like, subscribe button, and Ian and my rankings are all over there. And I'm going to give you guys a warning. I'm going to have my dynasty rankings over there. Theo is going to have his. Those are going to be behind the paywall. But if you're going to be getting our regular rankings, stuff like that, all of that is going to be free. So you want to sign up, go use my code JAG20 at checkout, and that gives you 20% off all of our subscriptions. We also just relaunched our app. All the stuff that you want on there, like our draft assistant, all of our Ian, help me out. Shit, I'm doing bad at my job.
All of our really cool shit, bro.
All of our really cool shit is over there. Like literally, you guys are upset about the app. We fixed all the things. All we did was give it a nice little facelift and make it work better. So go and try that out. I have poorly paid the bills. Now we go over to Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell has standalone value. This is, I think, the only guy we ranked the same, one of the few that we ranked exactly the same. He's going to have a standalone value, and he's the reason why we saw Bucky tank. Even in Dynasty, redraft, the price for Bucky is down. With that being said, how much value is that going to matter in season?
It's interesting with Gainwell because this is, again, where handcuff rankings are more of like an art than a science because the two things we're constantly balancing is when we're talking about a handcuff, it's what is their standalone value? And that's where we had a little bit of a difference, with guys like Blake Corum, Monangai, and Jonathon Brooks. I think Gainwell on this list of dudes we're talking about deserves to be top 5 in terms of just standalone value. He's, again, reigning Steelers team MVP, Kenneth Gainwell, lest we forget Jagger. So we have someone who caught 70 passes. It looks like he's going to be in that same pass down role that, Rachaad White's a good pass catching back in his own right. He caught over 200 passes over these last 4 years, man. So we could be looking at 50 plus receptions for Kenneth Gainwell. That's usually pretty freaking, a really good sign in PPR to be this low end RB2 type of player. So I think at a minimum, we're getting flex stuff out of him, but this is one of those things where it's a 3-headed committee, not a 2-headed committee. That's why I love
Tucker.
Drafting this.
Yeah,
I know, man. I love drafting the Steelers running backs because you can talk about their standalone value. But if Warren goes down, it's the Rico Dowdle show. If Rico goes down, it's the Jalen Warren show. If Bucky goes down in Tampa, I think it's going to be pretty Gainwell's role might not change all that much. And all of a sudden, it's just Sean Tucker soaking up a lot of this early down stuff. I know Gainwell can do it. We saw it last year in that freaking early Germany or England game where half the fantasy community wasn't up in time to swap out Warren for Gainwell. Had to look up at 11 a.m. and see how bonkers the dude was going. I know Gainwell has that theoretical 3-down ability, and that is half the battle. But, man, they love Tucker in early downs. They love Tucker around the goal line. So even if Bucky gets hurt, I just question how high the ceiling is. So for me, good, maybe not a great RB2 because of the Sean Tucker factor.
Yeah, he's 4 for a reason, and that's capped. All these other guys, you could see upside exactly like you said. Chuba could be irrelevant or less relevant than what his ADP suggests, or he gets hurt. Jonathon Brooks, wheels up, baby, 20 touches a game. Blake Corum, 20 touches a game. Like you said, maybe 10 on his own. Monangai, he's going to get 10 on his own regardless, and a lot of touchdown equity for how that offense is built. Kenneth Gainwell, you're going to get 10 touches, and then someone's going to get hurt, then you're going to get 10 touches. That's just about the end of it, And it's not even that it's annoying or it's an Arthur Smith situation where you're like, why is this guy getting the ball? All these guys are pretty solid. None of them are Bijan. And with that being said, why wouldn't you mix them all in? If they're all pretty much the same and interchangeable, that is a fine case to rotate these guys in. Chris Rodriguez. Tell the people the truth. He's going to be more relevant, guys. He's going to be more relevant. I've told you Paschal Tootin was worth too much. He caught a pass, man. The prophecy was a lie. Did you see it? Both hands around the ball and everything.
Dude, I love how some of these, it's literally a pass catching drill for running backs, and people are throwing the eyeball emojis. I was told, this guy couldn't catch, or it's a 7-on-7 where, again, you're literally just throwing the football to these guys. So that foot bothers me, Jagger. It does bother me. I think Tootin's running away with this right now.
You think Tootin is?
Yeah.
You rooting for Tootin?
I'm rooting for Tootin.
I don't want any of them. So I guess it's I don't want any of them in mine. And I keep saying this. Alfredo was on yesterday and we talked about it. Look, you know how we were talking about Sean Tucker being the sleeping, I don't want to say giant, sleeping dwarf with an axe. LaQuint Allen is the same thing, Yeah. Look, I'm not saying go draft LaQuint Allen. I'm just saying that LaQuint Allen is going to be playing some third down roles, and it will get annoying having him steal any amount of touches. That I don't think people are really ready for that. And with that being said, if Chris Rodriguez's foot is healthy enough to steal touches, then what is Tootin looking at? He's 56% snap share, which could be pretty good depending on how this offense is. That's my only problem. With that being said, Chris Rodriguez, maybe I'm too high, man. 5 seems kind of fucked up now that I'm talking about it.
So LaQuint, his pass pro is incredible. We've
so
seen
good.
I spent some random March day, just putting together highlights. One of the highlights of my 2026 Jagger, but he did only have 33 touches in 17 games last year. You know what I'm saying? So I respect him too. I don't think C-Rod has shown anything as a receiver. It could be a situation where it becomes more 50-50 if Tootin goes down between C-Rod and LaQuint Allen, if that happens. But it could also just be Chris Rodriguez, Liam Cohen's like, oh yeah, remember us at Kentucky 5 years ago? Like, let's do it, brother. And then all of a sudden he's giving him, 20 touches a game out there. We've been wrong, Jagger. Believe it or not, us alleged fantasy experts have been wrong trying to predict the usage before. So
don't say that on here. Don't say that on here.
Don't come on my show and throw me under the bus like that. Maybe C-Rod is the guy, dude. That foot issue for me, it's enough to be concerned. I do think Tootin has the pass down stuff. And I think Tootin's going to be the lead back. It's just like to what degree. And that's why I love drafting Tootin where he's going. RB25, RB26, again, just depending on your site. I feel like that doesn't change that much if we get through week one and all of a sudden, Tootin's like a 50, 55% lead. And then we have Rodriguez getting 30, 35, and then LaQuince getting 10 or 15%. If, though, we see that 70% snap rate for Tootin, he is the running back, y'all, in Duval County, then all of a sudden we're talking about someone knocking on that RB1 door immediately. So we like the offense. I do try to defer the offensive line stuff to, smarter ball knowers than myself. So shout out to Brandon throwing over ETR. He does have their offensive line. I want to say it was 30th. It was one of the more surprising rankings for what I consider to be a good offense. There are pieces of that puzzle, though, Jagger, and something that Thorne and other people have talked about. A really good play caller can overcome a not so good offensive line. And I would put Liam Cohen in that, conversation as being one of the league's better play callers. So we like the offense. Chris Rodriguez is fine. I'm not terrified of Tootin necessarily being this all-world talent, but that foot issue, man, there's a difference between thinking someone's injury-prone and someone already being injured, and Rodriguez is the latter.
And feet, no matter what sport, they're hard to recover from because turns out, man, you're putting weight on that thing, and you need that to walk, move around. Yeah, it's super important. And then this is me quoting people like I said, Jeff Mueller is one of the best in the game. Yeah. Adam Hutchinson, those basically the only two Twitter docs that I know because they actually seem to be real doctors. They have mentioned that like when you injure your foot, it just compounds upward because it's like you start moving weird, then like that'll lead up to knee injury, and then you got it. It takes us a long time to recover from. So literally with that in mind, I'm just like, yeah, man, 5 is a little high. He is free. He's basically free in drafts. That is the one thing about him. You might be picking him up off the waiver wires, or you might be drafting him with your last pick as a flyer in a lot of stuff. That is the one saving factor, which brings me to the other dude that I'm so happy that you ranked like this because I was on our ADP tracker and I had to scroll down for Keaton Mitchell. I was like, where's my boy? Where's my little zoomy boy? Scroll down and I found Keaton Mitchell. I think he has his own value as well. If anything, I think Omari and Hampton is a little overpriced. I just don't like drafting him, that early. It's not that I don't think he's going to be good, but we're asking that offense to be really, really good for it to be worth it.
Hampton is, again, there's a handful of these picks where I think we're going to know as early as week 1 or week 2 if we made the right call. And then whoever was on whatever side is going to have just the strongest argument to say F you to whoever was, in the wrong there. So maybe Hampton is still just a clear lead back and he's getting 20 touches a game for a loaded, awesome Chargers offense. He's going to look like a great pick if that happens. But the other scenario is he's more so in that Bashaw Tootin role I was talking about. Maybe it is more of a lead back, but we're also seeing Keaton Mitchell get 8 to 10 design touches per game. Mm-hmm. And Kamani Vidal, who was really freaking good with his opportunities last year, also mixes in on early downs. So the one issue with Keaton, he is a small dude. I don't think if Hampton goes down, they're saying, all right, Keaton, you are the workhorse now. Like, let's go ahead and get after it. I think it's more similar to Buffalo, where Ty Johnson usually gets more work than Ray Davis during the course of any given week. But when we have seen James Cook get injured in 2024, and when we did see him, sit for the majority of week 18 last year, it was more so the Ray Davis show. So I was in these, again, Kings Classic, shout out to Expo, fun week, and got to hang out with my guy Jagger in Canton, Ohio. Just what a, dirt average place to be. But I was in these 14-team, 3 flex, these massive, massive drafts, and Kamani Vidal was there for me at the very, very end, dude. So I want Keaton Mitchell over Vidal, obviously, because I think there's more week-to-week upside. And, hey, if you want to make the most out of 10 touches, you want to have the speed of Keaton Mitchell, and you want to be in the offense led by someone like Mike McDaniel and Justin Herbert in the first place. So I just think he needs to be the right pick for a certain type of build. We were kind of going through zero RB, hero RB stuff, a couple weeks ago. I think Keaton Mitchell is perfect for a 0 or a hero RB team, because you can put him out there and be, again, I think reasonably optimistic. You're getting 8 to 10 touches. What is his true handcuff upside? That's the bigger question. If you guys double tap RB round 1, round 2, you have Saquon, you have like James Cook or someone like that. You're never going to start Keaton Mitchell over those guys. It's when you're getting to round 9 or 10, and you're like, oh man, what am I going to do at RB2? Tacking on guys like Keaton Mitchell can make a lot of sense. Can get you those, 7, 8 points that you're just going to need throughout the course of a season if you don't have that locked and loaded RB2.
Yep. Because I like what you said, Kamani Vidal is another one that obviously, like Keaton Mitchell, it's the free money because no one's thinking about it. And he was objectively pretty solid when he got the ball last year. People forget he was me being one of those people included, like, man, this guy's a pretty good prospect, went undrafted for some reason, and then shadow realmed. Like he went undrafted and like, oh, he went to the Chargers. They need a guy. Hopefully they'll give it to him. That whole roster died, and they still looked at Kamani Vidal, and they're like, next time, baby, and moved on with it. And it took last year for us to see anything even remotely to what we thought he was as a prospect. And I think, if anything, you nailed it. What I think about Amari and Hampton, where I think he's expensive.
Sorry, real quick, Jagger. He did go 6th round, pretty close to undrafted.
Okay, 6th round. Yeah,
everything else you said stands. This dude had 3 different games with over 125 total yards last year. That's no joke.
Yep. It doesn't make. Sorry, guys. I just got a breaking very news. Important. I was. Yeah, we'll talk about this in a little bit. It is training camp, so I got Twitter open, guys. And it's Twitter highlights is what you've seen now. I literally saw this thing that we saw now. It's like, oh, he's catching passes. It's just like, okay, it's not that impressive. It is training camp, and they all are in shorts.
Keaton downfield, though, on the wheel. Hey, that was kind of impressive. I feel like of all the training camp clips, if we had to rank the top 3, top 5, maybe not most meaningful, but the most cool, give me the Keaton Mitchell wheel. Dontavian Wicks got up there and got one, man. I'm believing now.
That's actually what that's okay. So that's what I was looking at. Cause like usually guys, like, especially during training camp right now, when we're talking about a player, I will literally look on Twitter and see if anything happens. Cause there's been so many times where I've done a show and I'm like, yeah, man, this guy stay healthy. And like, as soon as I say that, it's like stepping on a butterfly and then like an ankle snaps or something like that.
Monangai unavailable today for some reason. I don't know. What
is, but yeah. But here, I want to go to the other side of the bus for Amari and Hampton and the Chargers offense. We saw the Dolphins, who had a worse offensive line, worse quarterback, have 2 running backs who are relevant, like really relevant. Now, I'm not saying that Keaton Mitchell's going to come in and give you weekly RB2 numbers. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that like maybe Amari and Hampton can be RB5 and Keaton Mitchell can be, like you said, a flex with benefits within a Mike McDaniel offense, especially the receiving core isn't quite what they had in Miami at all. So,
Dude, it's a small sample size, but in the Super Bowl era, every freaking running back with at least 100 career rushes. Number 1 in yards per carry is Amari J. Mercado, and number 2, it's Keaton Mitchell, man. So obviously, hellaciously horrible 2023 knee injury, but he looked more back to his former self last season. So he's only caught 19 career passes. That would be the one thing. It's like, who is getting the pass down stuff in Los Angeles? I think he's capable enough. Again, that was a pretty cool highlight. And honestly, like, he was in Baltimore. They had Justice Hill. They don't really throw all the running backs that much anyway. So I don't want to completely hold that against them. We saw Achane, all the sorts of screens and stuff he got out there. I mean, hey, Jagger, I'm not, I don't have a PhD in math or anything like that. But from what I can gather, 80% of Devon Achane, that's a lot of fantasy points.
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot. And especially
it's math right there.
It's math. It's math, man. It's actually pure science. And this is why we're always right. Move down to our next handcuff. Jonah Coleman. I was surprised that you were lower on him. And this is, I think, maybe our biggest discrepancy because I have him as number 6. You have him as 10. 10 is shadow realmy. I think maybe I'm thinking he's closer to Sean Tucker than he is Kenneth Gainwell. And this is an RJ Harvey segment, guys, is what I'm saying, is that Sean Payton is going to use lots of backs. And Jonah Coleman right now is the cheapest. I think he's solid. He was just injured a lot of his last year. I thought he should have came out his junior year, but he didn't. What do you think is going on with this Denver backfield?
I think they brought back Dobbins to be the lead running back like he was last season. Is he going to stay healthy? Probably not. It'd be awesome if he did. You can imagine what it'd be like if he did. RJ Harvey just sucked last year, man. Behind an awesome offensive line and a great offensive environment with one of the brightest offensive minds of the 21st century, he sucked. Usually it's the opposite, Jagger. Usually we look at someone like Dobbins and they have a worse yards per carry than someone like Harvey. And we're like, well, Harvey's running against light boxes. They know he's a pass down back. Like, obviously he averaged 5 yards per carry. No, he averaged 3.7. Dobbins was at 5. Harvey did some good things as a receiver. If he can go out there and catch 50, 60, 70 passes, of course, he's going to have a great season and everything. And I know he supplied some RB1 goodness down the stretch when Dobbins got hurt. I think Coleman complicates that, though. One of my favorite kind of college footballers, I should say NFL draft, sort of pieces of analysis. I looked at the little things for all these running backs. It was ranking them in pass pro, drop rate, and fumbles. Things that will just get you benched pretty quickly. Nobody was better than Jonah Coleman in this class. This is a 220-pound dude who takes care of the football. He can work in short yardage. He doesn't drop the ball, and he's also awesome in pass pro. He took Sonny Styles' lunch money, bro. He put him into the dirt when Ohio State was, out there playing in Washington. So Coleman, there's potential for a lot here. I think there's an argument that he's more reliable in the pass game for pass pro stuff. Harvey's very good in space. I'm not trying to completely shit on the guy here, but Coleman has the skill set to impact the pass down stuff and potentially the goal line stuff. So could he just be the RB2 in Denver? I think it's possible.
That's where I'm at.
It's problematic, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, it's J.K. Dobbins keeps on chugging, and they paid to have him come back. I feel like we're shocked that J.K. Dobbins has been getting jobs, and he's been great for like 3 years in a row. I think just like back-to-back horrific injuries. We're like, man, this guy's 40 years old. His whole body could break at any moment, but he's still there. And like you said, RJ. Let me tell you a secret, Ian. RJ Harvey was a bad running back. He was a bad draft pick. It is 100% true, man. I'm a pretty good rookie evaluator at this point in my career, and I was just like,
too.
Huh? Yes, he was at
25.
He was 25. He was not a good receiver. He just could catch the ball. That's what people don't understand. This guy wasn't like running around. He wasn't doing Jahmyr Gibbs shit. He was catching the ball in Florida was it USF or was it UCF? UCF. Yeah, UCF in open space in a bunk ass offense that is very, very good for guys with lots of speed. He was not good running between the tackles. He did not have good vision. So Sean Payton made a mistake. He finally, after, 5 fuck-ups drafted running backs, he got someone who's good accidentally in Jonah Coleman. Jonah Coleman was just injured and a little bit slow, but it's like you said, solid at catching the ball. I think he's more of a dump-off guy than anything, but he can pass protect, and he actually knows how to follow blockers and doesn't run in the back of his guards and stuff. And I'm sorry this turned into an RJ Harvey rant, but Jonah Coleman is just a better running back than RJ Harvey was. So
I don't disagree, man. One of my, I just published my top 6 fades. Harvey didn't quite crack it because I was trying to like push myself a little bit, make sure they were inside like the top 70 or so picks of drafts. But I have RJ Harvey ranked like RB 41. I know a lot of people draft him far closer to that RB 30 line. Again, last year there was no Jonah Coleman, so it was at least this thing where it was, hey, Dobbins will probably be a league guy, but flex with benefits role, right? Something happens to Dobbins, we get the RJ Harvey show. I think that's off the table now, man. So I think the floor and ceiling outcomes are very, very muddled there. And we're also still chasing these, Alvin Kamara, Darren Sproles ghosts. We haven't seen a good running back in Denver for these last few seasons. Bo Nix just led the league in pass attempts, and they added Jalen Waddle, man. I'm with you.
Yeah, exactly. if I'm going to be bullish on this offense, it's Waddle, Nix, and the cheapest running back that comes to me. That's about it on here. I don't. If anything, I don't really want the Broncos offense besides Nix. And I know some people got mad at me. I called Nix, from a fantasy perspective, super Justin Fields. I don't mean real life football. He's a good quarterback. I'm just saying, when a fantasy perspective, I feel like Bo Nix gives you like a 40-point game or like 5, it's either really bad or really, really good. And that's kind of indicative of the entire offense. And I don't love overdrafting running backs, but we're going to go to someone who is a pure backup. I want to say that he is more than a pure backup, meaning I'm not saying that he's going to give you weekly flex appeal or something, but I think he may get more burn than what we think, and he's going to be at least rosterable. Mike Washington Jr. There was no one behind Ashton Genty. There is no one in the passing game outside of Brock Bowers. What is Jack Besh? I like Jack Besh, but like this is they have the most Patriots looking receiving core I've ever seen, man. I'm like, how many slots receivers it's nothing but a generational tight end and 1,000 slot receivers. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but running backs, I feel like they could really, really go through the running game. Ashton Genty obviously being the guy, but I think Mike Washington can come in and vulture some TDs and get 8 touches, let's say like maybe 5 carries or so a game, because there's no one in that backfield. No one.
I know that Mike Washington got a lot of kind of late hype because he just absolutely blew up the combine and everything. But, dude, I think those numbers hey, you live in Arkansas, Jagger, so that team was not very good last year.
We're terrible, dude. Terrible.
But the offense, man, him and Thielen Green, they did some good things out there. Like, we're talking about some big games against some good SEC competition. Over 100 yards and a touchdown against Texas. He was reasonable enough in games against Texas A&M as well. 147 versus them, 131 against Tennessee. I like seeing that, bro. And then you put the film on and, okay, sure, fine. Like, I'm not going to pretend like I have, just the greatest understanding of what makes, the nuances of the running back position and everything like that. But I think being really big and really fast helps. I got some Christine Michael skeletons in my closet as well, trying to go ahead and just ride these, spark scores and the athleticism and everything like that. But we have all that with at least decent production against SEC competition. And yeah, it's objectively the second best conference in college football. We all understand that, especially up here in lovely Columbus, Ohio. But it still is something, man, where there's enough to like there. And to your point, the depth chart is literally him and then Dylan Laube, who has been a career special teamer. You can say past that. If that. Not concerned about that at all. So, yeah, it should be the Ashton Genty show. We don't want to think about any of these guys getting hurt. But if you did have to, and this is, again, where no standalone value is expected at all. Maybe vultures a touchdown or two, to your point. But we're not going to be able to predict that. It could be, based on how little they have around him. Roman Hemby from Indiana is also kind of UDFA guy buried there. Maybe he can get involved, but it could be Genty getting injured and then literally just Mike Washington stepping into that role and not being as good as him. But again, 80% of the production of Genty would still be someone that we're ranking as an upside RB2 more weeks than not. And this dude is beyond cheap in drafts of all shapes and sizes. So when you guys are going out there in your home leagues, I don't want to draft the wide receiver 73. I love the idea of Ryan Flournoy as much as the next fantasy nerd. We're never going to feel good about starting those wide receivers. Don't be afraid to have almost your entire bench be full of these handcuff running backs. Because again, one injury away from these dudes being on the cover of the waiver wire articles and instantly being someone you can trust. Meanwhile, a bunch of wide receiver 6, wide receiver 7 types, it's just not going to work out.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly where I'm at. Like, I think we're now in like pure handcuff territory where if you're taking a guy, it's solely just in case. And honestly, I don't like doing this. Mike Washington, in Dynasty, you got those deeper rosters. So I go make a trade for Mike Washington. And hear me out. When I said that he could have some standalone value, this is me thinking that they're going to run the ball a lot. A lot. Like literally they're going to run left, run right. Where's Brock Bowers? Run left, run right. Where's Brock Bowers? Like I feel like that's going to be the game script. And then when they get behind, it's going to be where's Brock Bowers? Where's Genty? Where's Brock Bowers? Where's Genty? Here you go, Besh. You know, like one of you speedy boys down the field.
Michael
that's
Mayer
about
for
it.
12.
Don't give me hope, man. What could have been? But that's the only thing you're hoping on. The next one, our biggest discrepancy, and it's Tank Bigsby. We kind of talked about that early.
Dog.
Dude, I think I was the Tank Bigsby guy, man. I literally was like, this is going to be Tank Bigsby's backfield now that Liam Cohen's gone. And then they're like, you know what?
We don't even want you.
Yeah. Like, get ready to speak Eagle, buddy. And then he like went to the shadow realm. So like, bring me back.
Look, he's been awesome these last 2 years, and it's actually a decent sample size. We're talking north of 200 carries. This isn't not the Keaton Mitchell sort of stats, it's not the Bashaw Tootin. Well, if you look at these certain carries, 50, 55, over 200 carries these last 2 years. We're talking a top 5 running back, even closer to 1 than 5 yards after contact, tackles avoided, explosive run rate. I know running back stats are more dependent on their O-line, their offense, their quarterback, and others. But the best way we can measure them, everything tells us Tank Bigsby is really freaking good at football. He's in an Eagles offense with Brandon Thorne's number 2 ranked offensive line going to this year. Please, injury gods, just help these dudes be okay. I don't think Will Shipley's a factor, and we saw that play out throughout last season. That's why Howie, every time Howie makes a trade, man, everyone freaks out and says it's so great. Why should Tank Bigsby one be any different? Saquon's the man. I don't see him going anywhere. There are, Jagger, if we really wanted to be optimistic here, if I want to show you guys how much I've drafted Tank Bigsby all summer, if I want to just be a complete bull about this, they're saying Bigsby and Saquon are splitting first-team stuff a little more evenly than most expected. So, look, it was different last season. Saquon's playing earlier in the game. Bigsby, a lot of it was mop-up duty and stuff like that. 5.9 yards per carry versus 4.1 in the same offense. I'm intrigued, man. I do wonder, Jagger, if we captured an alien who's never watched football before and made them sit down and watch every single Saquon carry and Tank Bigsby carry from 2025, I wonder who the alien would say is better at football, because Tank Bigsby's been pretty damn good, man. I think if every starting running back in the league got it, every single one of them got injured tomorrow and just was out of the picture, I think Bigsby's a top 5 running back.
I agree, dude. In his class, he was great, and analytics hated him. And I'm like, man, you were an elite college football ball knower for being in Ohio State. Like, you watch college football, Auburn,
God's
man.
sport.
This isn't me just saying like, oh, I'm a dude watching TV. Auburn's been a disaster since Cam Newton left. Oh. Almost my whole fucking life, man. When you couldn't judge shit from Auburn. Did you guys know that Bo Nix went to Auburn before he went to Oregon and figured
watch some Bo
out?
Nix Auburn highlights if you guys want to see. Bo Nix Auburn is like that SB Nation John. It's like, why watch Bo Nix Auburn highlights when you can, snort cocaine, jump out of a helicopter, like whatever his NHL playoff like analogy is. That was Bo Nix at Auburn.
Yeah, our boy Chuck Bass, an Auburn guy, and he's the only dude. He's like, I believe in Bo Nix. I'm like, I don't know, man. You look like I think Auburn is like the Jets of college football. When people leave the Jets, they have like a career year. That's kind of how Auburn is, or was. They could be better. I'm sorry if you're an Auburn fan. Auburn has been so horrendous to watch. I want you guys to be better. They're at that level.
Eagle.
Yeah.
We've always supported Auburn in these parts because it means going against Bama. So I'm with you guys.
Yeah. I'm an Arkansas fan. I know we suck. We got our own problems over here. I'm just saying, game recognized game, and that game isn't very good. But my point is, I think Tank Bigsby's a really good back, and right now, the Broncos. Speaking of Bo Nix, Broncos, I think he'd be their best back if he went there. There's a couple of places he could be a starter, and I think pretty solid. Jaydon Blue, I hate him. I don't think he's good at all, but he is in a very good offense that if something happens to Javonte Williams, who's only been healthy the one season, the year before, I think he was even injured.
He's been doing good. Ever since he had the brutal injury, he's been pretty
okay, he's been pretty good.
He wasn't very good the 2 years after.
Yeah, it just took him a while to get his wheels spinning again. Where are you at with Jaydon Blue here? I feel like I'm legally obligated to rank him higher.
Honestly, yeah. Where he goes at the very end of drafts, like him and Marshawn Lloyd are two dudes I'm just kind of happy to click in the final round or two. So with Blue, I hear you. Wasn't particularly great at Texas. He's got the speed and pass catching profile that we kind of look for in a sort of backup running back. I think that is the best compliment among this Cowboys running back room. Now, they didn't do anything with, by the way, like again, they re-signed Javonte. Malik Davis was the handcuff for the second half of last season because they didn't even lose the fumble. Blue fumbled against the Broncos, and they just basically doghoused him for the rest of the season. Also, Phil Maffa Hive stand up. Somebody feed Phil.
Clemson, baby.
So there's a handful of guys. I do think it's somewhat of a competition, but it sounds like, again, based on what the tidbits we get out of training camp, it sounds like Blue is being given the chance to be the true number 2. And again, having that pass catching ability and that hopefully explosiveness just based off of being a fast human being. I see the upside, but more than anything, man, it's just the Cowboys offense. Again, like, do we think that Chase Brown is a particularly great real life running back? Not especially, not to throw Chase Brown under the bus, but guess what? It doesn't matter because we don't care about style points. We just want dudes racking up fantasy points, and that's what he does with the Bengals. I mean, Jagger, if you were out there getting 20 touches a game for the Dallas Cowboys, I couldn't rank you that low, man. So if Jaydon Blue can just be better than my friend Jagger here, I think we might have something in the later rounds of fantasy drafts.
That's the game you're playing. Like I cannot think about Jaydon Blue. I just have to click last. I'm like I wish they would put Cowboys backup running back.
Exactly.
Like just put that with like a blank picture, and you're like, okay, click. That feels better than clicking Jaydon Blue. Kaelon Black, the most disrespected running back out of the last draft class. I'm not saying that he deserved to be a day 2 pick, even to not be invited at the combine despite playing well in a national championship team. Did CH give people such the ick that they looked at Kaelon Black and they're like, nah, brother, not even at the combine? Jordan James seems to have gotten zapped by the power plant for right now.
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate. Kaelon Black, he's another one where you got to kind of put him in the Tank Bigsby category as far as backups go. Because, remember Jordan Mason? Remember?
I remember. He's a little older. Kalen's already going to be 25 in October. I mean, I saw some stuff during the draft process. Like, how is Kaelon Black not higher? And it's like, look at him. He's freaking old. But Jordan James has a fractured ribs. Isaac Guerendo tore his pec this offseason as well. So, yeah, man, if we know Kaelon Black is for sure – if we know he's for sure the RB2, he should probably honestly be higher with this. It's just in terms of like how long is Jordan James potentially going to be out. So allegedly, according to 49ers, Kaelon Black was their number 2 RB in this entire draft cycle, if they are to be believed. They tend to say that about a lot of the guys that they just drafted. So I don't know. I feel like Jadarian Price should have been higher, but hey, maybe not. So you mentioned it. Even Isaac Guerendo for stretches, dude. CMC. 2 of the most valuable people in fantasy football are CMC and whoever is CMC's backup. And this is one of the rare times, man, where CMC's backup is almost completely free. So I hear you. Keep an eye on the Jordan James factor. But, hey, Kaelon Black, man, probably best not overthink this. Got day 2 draft capital as well. Now we go back and we look at some of the 49ers, whiffs in round 3 over the years. We got our Trey Sermon. We got our Tyrion Davis Prices of the world. I still remember the, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch going crazy over, Joe Williams in round 4, and that dude just couldn't get anything going. So it's not the most solid history. But, again, number 2 RB in San Fran tends to do some pretty good things. Why not Kaelon Black?
Yeah. Man, you brought back some Vietnam helicopters for me because,
right.
like, Tyrion Davis Price, I was like, dude, he's not good. And was like, well, he's a 49ers. And then you start to hear it enough. You're like, man, am I the problem? And then the exact thing happens that you thought would happen, and you just kind of move on with your day, and you feel sad. Which brings me to my next one, Damon Claiborne. As you mentioned, all your favorite fantasy analysts gather in Canton, Ohio, and get drunk in a garage and play poker. The next day, there is an expo sometimes where we go and talk. And I talk on the Dynasty panel. Someone was really hyping up Damon Claiborne. I do not like it. What was my grade on him? I'd have to dig up my my grade on. It's not good, man. I don't think that Jordan Mason is being talked about enough, and I think Aaron Jones is still Aaron Jones. Even if he's going to give you 12 games, those 12 games he's going to be productive in, which leaves where's Damon Claiborne? Not on my roster.
Yeah, could he be I feel like every time we get a speedy, undersized running back now who has caught at least one pass in their life, they're Devon Achane, you know what I'm saying? So I'm sure he has looked good so far in OTAs and early parts of training camp. If you're that archetype and you don't look good when the pads aren't on, something is very, very wrong with how you're performing. So I really struggle, unless Aaron Jones just completely exits the equation, how we get anything this year, particularly out of Claiborne. Because to your point, Jonesy's been rock solid. And I do think, based on what Matthew Collier and some of these, different Vikings beat reporters have said, I think it's going to be more so the Jordan Mason show in Minnesota, particularly on early downs. But if that's the case, then okay, there's even less, I think, room for Claiborne, because now we're getting probably a fresher Aaron Jones being more in that, pass down first role that he had alongside Jamal Williams for so many years in Green Bay, and then A.J. Dillon after that. What a time to be alive, free Aaron Jones. But I just really struggle to think of a scenario where we're just really pumped about starting Claiborne. All right, if Mason and Jones get hurt, okay, but you can say that about how many freaking running backs in the NFL at this point. So could be wrong, but he has some ball security stuff going on as well that I don't think is going to help. So just this sort of day 3, far from a complete prospect profile, needing multiple injuries, man, I'll draft someone else.
He's worse RJ Harvey. Let's just say what it is, man.
That might be fucking nice, honestly.
It's worse RJ Harvey. Because it's people well, Jordan Mason sucked. No, the Vikings sucked. Yep. That's the thing about running backs. The Vikings sucked. Well, when people start talking touchdowns to me, I want to scream in their face. Using touchdowns as fantasy analysis, it's true. They get you points, but they're one of the least predictable elements of this game, and the least
Vikings
sticky.
And Jets RBs, Jaggers, they tied for the 5th fewest carries inside the 5-yard line. That's how bleak it was in Minnesota last year, man. Yes. I don't think we hold that against Breece Hall, nor should we.
No, it's not Breece Hall's fault. It's not Jordan Mason's fault. This is why I tell everyone I'm worried about Devon Achane, even though people yell at me about it. I'm it's you're asking him to be Jesus, man. All right, we're 40 yards out, Achane. Get us a touchdown. That's just not how football works, man. But with that being said, those were 12 handcuffs. Thank you, Ian, for getting you got in them trenches with me. We talked about Damon Claiborne ad nauseum. So this was a gross episode of Fantasy Football. It's me, Jagger, and that's Ian Hartitz. Love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.